Have you ever wanted to add a touch of whimsy to your rolled hems? Well, today we're going to embark on a journey going over 2 different ways you can roll hem. We're going to go over the traditional way, just the straight stitches, and then we're going to go over a way with a little bit of a twist and add in some fishing line. Hi, I'm Christina, and I love to digitally apparel pattern, creating unique pieces of wearable art. And I love when you can add those tiny little details, maybe like fishing line in your hem, to give your garment a new distinct look, a new finish. It's just one of those really fun things that can just be a minor change, but can completely change the look of the garment. So let's jump over to our serger and get it into rolled hem position. If you're looking to see how you can get it into a rolled hem position, make sure to check out that video right up there, because we're just gonna jump in and start serging. So let's go. The first thing I always like to check is to make sure that my blade is locked. I always like to have my skirt hemmed and ready to go. That way I'm not cutting anything off and don't have any chance of cutting my fishing line. Next, I want to make sure that I have a nice length of fishing line to start, because sometimes the fishing line doesn't move at the same rate as the skirt and you have to kind of pull it after the fact. So you always want to start with a nice length of that fishing line on either end. Then we're just going to sew. We're going to keep that fishing line and the thing as close to the blade, or as close to the edge of the stitching as we possibly can. And we're just going to sew from one side to the other. And then again, you want to get a nice length of fishing line. Sometimes before I even cut my fishing line, oops, I actually missed a piece there. I'll show you how I can go back and fix that. I will actually pull and make sure that fishing line is nice and taut and not gathering in at all. It is one of those things that it can sometimes do that if your fishing line is not moving at the same rate of your fabric. It's kind of normal to do this, so just make sure you have that extra fishing line at the beginning of your project as well as at the end, because this is only a half scale skirt, and when you have a full scale skirt, you might have a little bit more. So, give it an extra 2 feet. You can always trim it down later. Time to go back and fix the bit I missed, so I'm going to put the fishing line and fabric underneath the foot as close to that non-cutting blade as I can, and just sew over it. And then I'm going to move off. Makes a nice, clean re-sewing. So I will show you that again. I'm just going to lay the fabric on. I'm going to pull the needle up, and then I'm going to lay my fabric down. I'm going to make sure that the fishing line and the fabric are closer to the blade that is not cutting, but then that will help totally encase the fabric and the fishing line. Now we're going to do the other side, and we're only going to have a rolled hem on this side. This, if you are doing a rolled hem and you have not cut off your excess, this is where you will want your blade up so that you can then actually be cutting off that excess. Or if you have already cut everything off and you want to keep it that exact length, I again sometimes like to keep the blade down to then keep it right on the edge and not accidentally cut any of the excess off. And then you just serge it right on through. I really like the look of both of these. Now let's go ahead and put it on my half scale form. Half of this skirt is just done with regular serging, and the other half is done with the fishing line. So as you can see, the left side of the screen is my fishing line that has those nice little loop-de-loops, and the right side of my screen is just the serging. So let's take a little bit closer look. As you can see, this is just serging. There's nothing in it. It has a nice little rolled hem look, and it lays very nicely. And to counter it, this is the side with the fishing line. It has a little bit more depth into that edge, as well as it gives the serging a much more defined look. 2 totally different looks, but I definitely enjoy them both. And there we have it. We now have 2 totally different serging edges. We have the serged edge with nothing in it, just plain and everything. And then we have the edge with the fishing line in it that just gives it a little bit more body and a little bit more bounce and just gives it a lot more definition. Both hems are a great way to finish your projects, and it just kind of depends on what you want your hem to look like, of which one you should use. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe so you can see other fun ways to digitally apparel pattern, as well as some sewing tips and tricks. And I look forward to seeing you in some of my other videos. Happy sewing!